Every life on this earth is a creation of time, but sometimes certain incidents in the time may bring intolerable pain and shatters everyone's heart. Such an incident is happening in Wayanad district of Kerala for the last few days. It shattered everyone's heart and the entire nation is still mourning. In this background, let us discuss the rising cases of landslide in the context of Wayanad. First, we will start with a basic question: what is landslide? We have discussed this many times. Landslide is one of the types of mass movement which includes sudden fall of a large mass of soil and rock debris, and it can be caused due to natural causes as well as due to anthropogenic reasons. First, we are going to see what are the natural causes for this landslide. The first major reason is rainfall. It is a key trigger. For example, prolonged rain or heavy rainfall can saturate the soil and make the region unstable. In the case of Wayanad, the Wayanad district received 572 millimeter rainfall in just 48 hours before the disaster. And second natural reason will be the geology of a region. For example, the soil and rock type of a region. Acidic rock and acidic soil are highly vulnerable to saturation, and unfortunately the Western Ghats was acidic soil. And the third major natural reason will be topography of a particular region. Regions with a steep slope and hills are highly vulnerable to disasters such as landslide. For example, the landslide in the Mundakai hill was a triggering point for the entire disaster, and the presence of Iravanyi river later caused flash flood in Churamala village. Next major reason is loss of green cover. According to the study of International Journal on Environment and Public Health on Deforestation, that study was conducted in the year 2022. They found that the Wayanad lost nearly 62% of its green cover between 1950 and 2018. And the last major reason will be the geological history of a particular region. Regions with the history of natural disasters such as landslide are highly prone to the same disasters in the future. For example, the Wayanad has a history of landslide for a very long time. Now we are going to see what are the anthropogenic reasons behind the landslide. The first major reason is deforestation. The forest has a capacity to absorb the water, thereby it will slow down the saturation of the soil and the region. But due to the deforestation, it will accelerate the water runoff and thereby it will cause the soil erosion and the fast saturation of soil. And the second reason is mining and quarrying. It will destabilize the slopes. Coming to the history of the Meppadi Grama Panchayath of Wayanad, where the incident happened, it has a history of mining activities. The mining was started in the 18th century during the British time, and the initial settlers of this region were mine workers during migrated since the British era. And the third major reason will be the construction, that includes unplanned construction and heavy township. It will increase pressure on the land. For example, the Meppadi Grama Panchayath was an important tourist destination even 2 days before the disaster. And the last major reason will be improper agriculture. The improper way of agriculture can lead to soil erosion and deforestation. This will again result into the same cause of accelerated water runoff and fast saturation of soil. In the case of Wayanad, the unplanned tea cultivation is one of the major reasons for the soil erosion and deforestation. Now we are going to discuss the disaster management for landslide. We can take two measures in regard of landslide. First one is to prevent, that includes preventive measures, and second one is responsive or rescue measures. First we are going to see the preventive measures. The preventive measures includes hazard zonation and planning. It will help in identifying vulnerable regions and also guide in land use and planning settlement patterns. We will see this map. This map is prepared by the Department of Science and Technology and the National Remote Sensing Center. And you can see it divided the India into 5 landslide zones. The blue indicates very high hazardous zone, the yellow indicates high hazardous zone, and light yellow and pink indicates moderate and moderately high hazardous zone, and the green indicates low hazardous and the white indicates very low hazardous zone. And coming to the case of the Kerala, that is the North Malabar, which falls under the category of moderately high hazardous zone. And the second preventive measure will be early warning system. The early warning system will help us to evacuate the people just before the disaster. For example, in the case of Kerala, the people are demanding for establishment of a Doppler radar to forecast the north part of Kerala. There's actually Kerala has one Doppler radar and that is located in Kochi, but that is no, the people are raising demand that it is not enough to forecast the climate of the North Kerala. So therefore there is a demand for the Doppler radar in the north. And the fourth measure includes education and awareness. The people must be aware about the disasters, so therefore it will create a kind of cooperation from the people to the institutions. So this will be very useful in taking the preventive measures as well as during the rescue measures. For example, in the case of Wayanad, the Kerala government had a plan to evacuate the region 4 years back, but that didn't progress well. Next preventive measure will be engineering solutions. That includes rock anchoring and other techniques. For example, bolting the rock with the wrong areas, therefore it will prevent the fall off of rock suddenly. Now we are going to see what are the responsive measures or rescue measures can be taken during the time of landslide. First one is coordinated effort among the rescue forces. For example, in the case of Wayanad, on 13th July, nearly 600 team of National Disaster Relief Force was deployed, and in the very after that 15 teams of Army, Navy, Air Force and Coast Guard also deployed in for the relief measures. And you can see on August 1st, the Army Engineering Task Force also joined for the relief operation, and they built a temporary bridge to connect Churamala with the rest of the world, because Churamala was destroyed in the flash flood caused due to the river, and it was isolated, and it wasn't possible for the forces to carry out relief operation in Churamala. Therefore, the Army Engineering Task Force got deployed, and they constructed a bridge within a very short time, and they reconnected the Churamala with the rest of the Wayanad. And the second one is use of technology for rescue operation. That includes use of drones and unmanned aerial vehicles, and also the use of ground penetrating radar. This ground penetrating radar will use pulses to detect the objects buried under debris, and also includes the use of thermal imaging provided by satellite to detect early warning of landslide as well as for rescue measures. But in the Wayanad, the government of Kerala demanded the use of intelligent buried object detection technology to rescue the people under debris. This also a system falls under the UAV technology. Now we are going to see the climate change and its impact on psychology. So we had a habit of relating the climate change with the socio-economic development, and now we are relating the climate change and its impact on the rights and the social justice. But at the same time, the climate change is very much related to the psychology of a people also. Let us see why. First one is the climate change can lead to prolonged psychological impact such as post-traumatic stress disorder, depression and anxiety in the people. And second one is the climate change can affect not only the climate change, the natural disasters can affect the cognitive and bioneurological transmitters of a person. This can cause stress on the brain, as well as recently a study conducted in California found that the people who are exposed to natural disasters such as wildfire are highly prone to depression and anxiety. And the third important reason is the psychological first aid. So the disaster management should consider this as an important step for relief measures, because psychological first aid is very much important to stabilize the affected communities, and this includes providing basic therapy and basic facilities, and therefore it is very important to prepare the people to face a similar event in the future. And the last one is the role of government. The government should prioritize the mental health of the people in disaster planning as well as relief measures. So now we are going to see the disaster site of Wayanad, and it's an overview. So you can see three important points in this map. The first one is the origin of Idavanyi Puzha. So this is the trigger point of the landslide. This is a place where the first landslide happened, and this resulted into the flash flood, and therefore second landslide happened in Mundakai, and again this intensified the flash flood, and finally this caused the another landslide at 4:15 AM in Churalmala. So with this, you can see the river is flowing between the Mundakai and Churalmala, that is Idavanyi Puzha, that is dividing the Churalmala with the from rest of the world. So therefore there was a bridge actually here, it got destroyed in the flash flood, and that's why the Churalmala got isolated from the rest of the place, and the relief measures in this Churalmala was very much difficult for the deployed forces. That's why the army force finally constructed a temporary bridge to carry out the relief measures. So this is an overview of the disaster. This is a triggering point. The landslide in this region caused the flash flood and another two landslides in Mundakai and Churalmala villages of Wayanad. What are the things that we have to understand from the Wayanad landslide incident? First one is resilience building. That includes implementation of recommendations of expert committees such as Gadgil and Kasturi Rangan committees. Gadgil Madhav committee identified three important eco zones in Western Ghats. Later, Kasturi Rangan report said that 37% of the Western Ghats are highly eco-sensitive zones. And the second measure that to be taken is the relation, the better coordination between the center and the state governments. For example, it will enhance the relief measures as well as it will also remove certain hinders in the disaster management as well as in relief measures. And the third important step to be understood from the incident is the importance of community participation, because involving the local people in planning and response is very much important, because they are the people who actually knows the region very well. Therefore, the community participation will be very much effective in on-time disaster response as well as management. And the last thing we have to understand is a comprehensive well-being. That is, the disaster management should address the social, psychological, and physical needs of the affected people. With this, we are concluding our discussion on the topic landslide in the context of Wayanad. Thank you.